Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight on episode 26, season 6 of the Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live on Wednesday evenings throughout the season. Richie, once again, is running late. He is currently, I think he was in fielding, heading home to Wellington, so he said he'll jump on as soon as he's home. That means I'm going to have to pull the super sub off the bench and get Paul to help me out until Richie's here. So, evening, Paul. We had a great game between Storm and Panthers.
We've got to give the people what they demand, right?
Exactly. We had a good game between the Storm and Panthers and an ugly Warriors win, which saw them return to the top 4, unlike we predicted last week. But how's your week been?
Yeah, good. It stopped raining, which is good. So my weekend has definitely got better since I can actually drive around without getting and get out the car without getting drenched. So yeah. Not bad at all.
It's always a bonus. And while we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything you need to know on the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of the round 24 matches. We'll then take a look at the ladder, fantasy teams, and the tipping comp. We'll then answer some questions from you guys as well as questions we're prepared for each other. Richard has sent me his question in case he isn't here by that point, so we've still got his one. And then we'll preview round 25 and make our picks, or lack thereof, if you want to go by how I scored last week. So remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show, and we may as well jump straight into it, Paul, while you're doing a quick little Google to try to keep up. The first ones, there wasn't too much yet to research, but Payne Haas has confirmed that he will no longer represent the Kangaroos and will now play for Samoa. And Leka Halasima and Robert Toya have also pledged their allegiance to Tonga. They're not really being talked about that much. Payne Haas is the big one. He is one of the big enforcers for the Kangaroos, and he was one they didn't really want to lose to Samoa. But I think long-term plan, I think it's great. It is always, I know you don't listen to it a lot, Paul, but all the players that defect from New Zealand and build up the island teams, the Australians love it, but now that it's starting to leak into their Kangaroos team, they're not fans of it. They're threatening or saying they should all be kicked out of Origin and things like that. And I think the water's already out of the bottle. You can't put it back in. These guys that have made, you could probably draw a line in the sand now and say from now on, but I think they can't. So I think it'll be good. It makes Samoa a lot tougher team to face in the Pacific Cup at the end of this year for the Kiwis. But we've been long advocates on this show about trying to make the international game actually competitive. So it actually will grow and have games for us to watch. So I'm all for it. It's not really something you're used to and you're on this side of the woods. So
I guess it comes down to you could say, look, guys, you're not part of Origin anymore, but do you want Origin to have the best players in the world? And if you do, you can't stop banning, you can't kick these guys out. So as you say, enough of them have moved now that it seems to have got critical mass, I think. Not that I actually know what the numbers are, but it feels like it's got critical mass from the outside anyway, that you can't really go back.
Yeah, and I know it hasn't been confirmed yet, but I know Payne Haas was an advocate to get Big Tino to jump ship as well. So we'll see if that happens. Katoni Staggs was also another one mentioned where the Kangaroos want him, but he is still undecided on if he wants to play for them or play for the Islands. Time will see. There's a couple of weeks left.
Who's going to the UK this year?
Australia. So okay, that could be part of it as well. Payne Haas just doesn't want to go to the UK. He wants doesn't
want to travel. Wants to be near home.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. There'll probably be a few more that get announced as time goes by. Hopefully, not too many Kiwis. I like to keep as many as we can. I know Nafaluma White has come out and said he's still a Kiwi. Said there may be a day where he would like to represent his heritage for Samoa, but today is not that day. So we'll see how many more go on. But and Checo said Gordon Tallis ain't happy. He was the main one I was talking about. He is very upset. But he was also one of the guys that was absolutely rapt that Adam Whenua-Blake and Jason Taumalolo were going to play for Tonga, saying it's going to build Tonga to actually be competitive and it's great for the international game. So it's only when it happens in his own backyard. But yeah, so we'll tell. Next one I've got, Paul. Sean Lane from the Eels has announced his retirement from rugby league, but he is going to remain with the Eels in a role focusing on mental skills and athlete awareness. I think we talked about it a couple of months ago when he was announced he was taking time away for being burnt out, I think was what he said. Obviously, his heart's not in the playing of it anymore, but he still wants to contribute in some way, and it's nice of the Eels to give him this gig, rather than just saying if you're not going to play, you're gone.
It's also an area of that needs work. Now I hope he's qualified on that side of things, so yes, hopefully he's actually qualified in sort of mental health and all that kind of stuff, if that's the area he's going into. But yeah, it's an area that does need to be done, needs to be looked into. And look, if your heart's not in it, trying to train and the amount of pain these guys have to go through, it's not going to work. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I know Ben Henry, a former Warrior that had the biggest injury curse you could think of, and had to retire early. I don't think he's still with the Warriors, but he moved into like a well-being role where he was helping the young players get used to first grade and the ups and downs that come with it. So I don't know if it's that type of thing for Sean Lane, but wish him nothing but the best. He was a Warrior for a short amount of time against his will, but he was here. But yeah, hopefully he goes on to bigger and better things. And I saw Bjorn said, breaking news, Brad buys Pompey shirt. Yeah, Bjorn hit me up on Twitter after the game saying he was looking forward to a rave review on Pompey. When I rewatched the game, I found plenty to criticize. So it's a balanced mix. But we can talk about that when we get to the game. But speaking of the Warriors, there has been noise that the Warriors have informed Bunty Afoa that he'll be not offered a contract extension next year. Hasn't featured this year really, been a constant contributor in New South Wales Cup. Longest current contracted player with the Warriors. I think he's on 16 years. I didn't do the stats. But yeah, he hasn't really had a lot of opportunities under Andrew Webster, and the young kids that are coming up jumping him in the queue. So it's probably a sound salary cap decision where I don't assume Bunty's on a lot of money, but he'd be on more than the 18, 19-year-old kids that are taking his spot. So it just makes sense. I'm sure some team will pick him up. I know there was some information about apparently he doesn't qualify to go over to Super League because he hasn't played enough games, but I don't see how that's the case when they've got young kids that have played like half a season and then they go up to Super League. So I don't know how it works with their salary cap and stuff up there, but I'm sure someone will pick him up. Last time the Warriors did this to him, he jumped out of his skin and played really well and got an extension, but I don't see that happening this time because he is not actually getting game time. And Jago asked, have we locked in Crosby yet? Tigers are rumored to be chasing him. I don't think they've extended him because he's still not on a top 30. I assume a development deal will come his way. I know there was a lot of people pushing to see him play this week, but I think he still needs time. It's only his second year in rugby league. He's a union boy. Looks very talented and someone I'm very excited to see make first grade. But I don't think we'll lose him to the Tigers. I think if it gets to that point, they'll throw an offer down, which when we talk about signings, that actually happened this week with another player the Warriors had where they almost lost him to the Panthers. And he used the 10-day rest period they've brought in now, where you have, after you agree, you have 10 days to actually sign, or you can go backwards on it. And he went backwards and took another offer from the Warriors. So that potentially could happen. But yeah, as Jago said, Crosby's a hell of a talent. Yeah. I want to see him in first grade to see how his talent transfers, but in every grade he's been thrown into, he seems to excel with his skill set. So, yeah, he's a big unit. He's strong. He's fast. So, yeah, I reckon we'll see him in first grade next year at some point.
So just to rewind back to Bunty, look, he's only 29, so he's not as old as that. Joined made his first appearance for the Warriors back in 2016. I don't know if he was contracted for a while before that at low levels, but when you say he's been there for 16 years, he's been there he's been playing there. This will be his sort of 19th season there. So 19th or 20th? Actually, no, 20th. Sorry, 20 no, 10th season. What am I talking about? 10th season. That was 10th season. That was. Dear me. Clearly, I need to brush on my maths. I'm going to help my daughters with the NCEA. So yes. So let's sort of quickly run through that.
Yeah, and then the next bit of news was Big Tino. We talked about last week. He wants to test his value on the market. There have been rumours already starting that the Dragons are set to offer a massive offer to lure him to the club. Some saying it'll be the biggest offer they've ever offered. There's a lot of offers in that. So I really don't want to see him go to the Dragons for personal bias reasons, but if they're willing to throw big money at a guy like that, it'd be silly not to say no. It is a business at the end of the day. If someone's going to give you a lot of money, I never critique a player for taking it. So,
yeah, look, again, it comes down to what do you want? If you want some titles and legacy from that point of view, then you need to be a bit more smarter about it. If it is purely financial in the short term, then absolutely. But let's be honest, I can't see him going to the Dragons and then building a championship team. So he's not going for titles, at least.
No, they could use that money on a halfback, but I guess not while the coach's son's there. But yeah, time will tell. He can't legally, if that's the way to say, he can't legally speak to anyone until the 1st of November. So we'll get some news, I guess, around then. And by then, he'll probably be saying, I don't want to discuss it until the end of the Pacific Cup, if he's playing for Samoa, or the England tour if he's playing for Australia. So we might not hear about it until season 7. But yeah, time will tell there. And then the next one was one I said you can try to do a quick research on if you could. But Nathan Cleary spoke out about the Panthers' loss to the Storm, claiming the penalty against Moses Leota when he kicked the field goal was wrong. Harry Grant also spoke about the incident and agreed with the call as he said it's how the rule's been policed all season. I agree that it was a penalty. I still don't like how Harry Grant kind of milked it in his way that he did, but I can also see the Panthers side of things where if I was a Panthers fan and my team had the match-winning goal and then they get it taken away because of a penalty, I'd be pretty shitty. But yeah, the rule that they brought in was you can't really block the charge down people when you're coming through. And Nathan basically said he assumed, which is his fault because you know what they say about assumptions, that it only counted for the players standing around the ball. Where Bunty was further back. Not Bunty, I'm reading Jacko's comments, see Bunty. Moses was further back, but he did actually make one step to the left. And that, I think if he'd stayed completely still, it would have been fine. But because he made one step to the left, that's what caused the penalty. And Jagger said Cleary would do exactly what Grant did if it was the other way around. Not only would he did earlier this year, which is what's brought up a lot of the hypocrisy about it. He did the exact same thing earlier this year in the Panthers' favour. And Bjorn said he did his best Mitchell Moses impression, old Harry Grant. He did. If you saw the replay, Paul, he was running. He somehow put his hand out to touch Moses and went down like he got hit by a truck. All on him.
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to win the game, this is what you're going to do, right?
It's gamesmanship. But yeah, I get both sides, but I think it was the right call. Let's see if it happens to the Warriors this week, and I'll be completely different next week. Adding to the complaining about decisions, Shane Flanagan also stated that he believed his player was obstructed when Adam Pompey scored his try and stated that he no longer knows the rules. This one I can't really comment on too much because I can see both sides of it, but I'm a Warriors fan, so that was a try all day for me. When they showed the replay, I did think it would be one that they would get taken off them with how the obstruction rules are. But in Flanagan's defense, I don't really understand how the rules go with obstructions either. But yeah, it seems to have been very divided over the Tasman. Half the people are saying it was just milking. Other half said it was an obstruction. So,
Look,
I don't know.
This is cold kind of thing of blaming milking. Look, players are going to do it absolutely. If you're going to blow, if they're going to increase the chance of getting a penalty, you've got to show the referee that you're blocked. Absolutely. So that's all rubbish. You just got to just live with it. It's what it is now, folks. It's how the game is. Look, obstruction is always difficult. Would you have made it? Would you have made it? All this kind of stuff. Was it significant? All these sort of things. So yeah.
Yeah, and the NRL also said at the beginning of the year for the obstructions, if defenders are obviously milking, they will disregard it. So that also played a part, I think, because the Dragon acted like he'd been shot as well. But yeah, it is what it is. Again, bias, because if it was the other way around, I'd be complaining on here. So
you'd be fuming. Yep.
Next bit's a little bit about Manly. So Buzz Rossfield spoke out about Daly Cherry Evans, saying that he should retire at the end of this year as his form's been terrible. A few other pundits over there have been saying the same. Andrew Voss, I think, in one of his shows or podcasts or something, said that he basically thinks it's going to be announced because he saw him looking upset with his wife after a loss. So I don't know how much you can take out of that. But yeah, Andrew Johns came out recently and defended him and said he should play on. And it's hard to say he isn't playing well, but is that because he's not playing well or because the whole team's falling apart since his decision to leave? And I think he's earned, I think, enough respect in the NRL to be able to make that decision himself. So yeah, I still think it would be a bad idea to go to the Roosters because I think Roosters have got enough players in that spot. But yeah, I did predict he'd retire at the end of this year. So if he did do that, it would help me out for my predictions. But Jagger said, I hate to say it, but Buzz is correct. To be fair, maybe he should take his own advice as retire as well. Yeah, he's a bit long in the tooth too. But yeah,
if you're enjoying
it's his choice.
Well, yes and no. If you're enjoying it, you're motivated to play, and someone's willing to pay you, stick around. It's a short career. You can only earn money for that short amount of time. Keep earning that money. It's up to them if they want to pay you. I don't think you should be retiring on form. I think you should be retiring on whether you're still enjoying it, where you're still motivated.
Yeah. And if he is going to the Roosters, like everyone said, it's a hell of a team for him to join. So I'm sure even if he is a little bit worse than he normally would expect, I think they'll do okay with him. But time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see until a decision's made.
If they put the contract in front of him and then they decide he's not good enough to play and they put him on the bench all season, and that $1 million.
You're still getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Continuing with Manly, though, the media over in Oz, they've found a new team to pick on with the Tigers still getting wins, so they had to move on. They said they've heard from the Seagulls playing group that they're not on board with Anthony Seibold remaining as their coach, even though the club are backing him. They're all pointing fingers at where it went wrong. They said when DCE decided he was leaving, it all started to fall apart. It doesn't look like a happy group right now. It's kind of an ongoing trend with Anthony Seibold, though, where he kind of outlives his welcome with his playing group, where he goes. So it could just be the form of Anthony Seabolt. I don't know what they're going to do. And if the club's backing him, it makes you feel like they're going to stick to their guns and tell the players they're either got to adjust or move on. I don't know. It's a big call, but what do you watch the Ruggers? What do you do if a whole team decides they don't like the coach anymore and aren't going to play for him? What do you do in that situation?
It kind of very rarely happens. All right. Yeah, I mean, look, yes, they're on a 4-game losing streak at the moment, but they haven't had they didn't really put a good run together all season. So to say they've gone downhill, I'm not so. Yeah, they're in a bad slump at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I guess there is. Yeah, in fact, many senior players are doing a mutiny. They are not putting in at all. Yeah, that comes. Look, you've got to. That then comes down to the senior management, as you say. Who do they trust the most? Is it the players, or is it the coach? And let's be honest, the players haven't delivered a title recently. So guys, you can complain and say how he's doing it all wrong. But, yeah, maybe they're not as good as they think they are.
Yeah, and Bjorn said once the Grab DC moves on, the club will be happier. I think they'll be. I think once DC's out of there, he's obviously not happy there. You know, he wants to leave. Once he's out, they might be able to sort the attitudes out a bit. Time will tell. They got Jamal Fogarty coming in, who I think is a good positive mindset to bring in. So yeah, they may be okay. It may be just about getting some of the select toxic players out of there, which the Warriors have done in the past when they've had that. They've had a few people spoiling the broth, and they've just silently moved them on and tried to turn things around. So that could be what Manly does. Time will tell with that, though, and we'll go to the last bit before we get into injuries and that. Warriors NRLW winger, I always get a name wrong. Is it Michaela Brake? I always call her Michelle.
Michaela Blyde was her before she got married, but yes, Michaela Blake.
Yeah. So she hasn't been playing for the Warriors the past few weeks for personal reasons. They announced the personal reason this week. She is pregnant and will miss the rest of the season for obvious reasons. So congrats to her on that. That's a great thing to happen for her and her husband. The way her contract works, I don't know if it means we're ever going to see her again. Because I know she was looking at doing a couple of years and then going back to the sevens and things like that. So I don't know if by the time she's had bub and ready to play again, if she'll still be a Warrior or not. I hope so, but yeah, time will tell. I thought better mention it because I know these guys like Jacko and that are on the pulse, and we'll mention it in the chat. And Bill said I can babysit next year so she can play for the Wires. 100%.
Well, yeah, Bill says Brad can babysit because you can.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great with kids.
Right. So look, I guess this is going to come down to part of what she's playing for, and obviously Olympics are a big thing for sevens. So that might be why she goes back because obviously gold medals, a good post career, and obviously a good personal achievement thing. But if the money in NRLW gets big enough, then maybe she will stay. If it comes down to cash point of view. I mean, Jack, I mentioned earlier that I was wrong about the stopping playing doesn't mean stopping working or stopping earning. Sure, and he says, yeah, get a real job. But look, when you get a real job, you're probably knocking a zero off your salary for that first year. So whilst you're definitely not going to be able to earn the same amount as that one. Jack is Blake 30, is 30, so maybe not a Warrior again, but who knows? It depends on we'll have to see how where her priorities lie.
Most of these league players don't go to real jobs afterwards anyway. They go onto the media or they become coaches and all that. They all they play make believe for the rest of their lives.
There are too many of them to do that. Some of them do have to get real jobs.
There's some real bad ones doing it at the moment, so they could swap. But I don't think I'd want to see DCE doing the media side of things anyway. But we'll move to signings. Haven't got too many. We've got the Dolphins announced they signed Panther Brad Schneider on a 1-year deal for 2026. I think that's a great pickup for them. He hasn't really had the chances I think many expected at the Panthers with them bringing in Blaise Talangi. So I don't know how many opportunities he'll have at the Panthers, at the Dolphins either, with Katoa and Cody Nikarima there, but they're bound to have someone fall down, and the Dolphins are used to having an injury or two, so he's a handy backup. And yeah, Jacko said Olsen the Big O went on to move rubbish bins. Yeah, back in the day, they all had to do proper jobs after. But yeah, I think a handy deal for the Dolphins. And then, as I already mentioned, the Warriors.
He's leaving the Panthers. A good chance he's getting a pay rise. So if he is getting a pay rise and sitting on the bench, even better for him.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, the Kalis Fatialofa was on the verge of signing a deal with the Panthers. A major loss for the Warriors. They had that window where I think it is 10 days where you notify your current club that there's an offer on the table. This is the offer. They have 10 days to either counter offer or let you go. Counter offer was put on the table. He decided to keep that offer, and he is now extended with the Warriors until the end of 2027. I think it's a great deal, a great pickup by the Warriors to keep him. He looks like a hell of a talent, and he would have been one of those young kids that they let walk out the door that all the fans rant and rave about, myself included, for years on end when they go off and become a superstar at another club. So, yeah, hopefully that gets him one step closer to making his first grade debut in 26. But handy pickup for us there. West Tigers have extended Stafford Toa until the end of 2028. I think that's great for them. He's been playing really well this year. And then the last one I saw was the Raiders have extended Semi Sasangi until the end of 2028. Another handy extension too. So not too many jumping ship signings at the moment. It's just everyone securing their rosters ahead of the Perth team coming on and trying to steal everybody. So I expect for the rest of the year we're going to have nothing but extensions. So we'll go to injuries, which is always full. I cut it down as much as I could this week, Paul. But Cameron McInnes from the Sharks, he has ruptured his ACL. It's a 9-month rehab. So that's devastating for him. He's currently in the bubble where he's trying to get a new deal, either with the Sharks or with another club. So this is the wrong time to have an injury like that where it can seriously hurt your negotiations. Hopefully he gets through it. David Fafita from the Titans, he's had another surgery on his ankle. I think it's the third one this year. And he will miss the rest of the year. He's barely played anyway. Titans aren't in a position to do anything, so I can see why he's decided not to try to push through. Jack Gawecki from the Broncos fractured his collarbone in the weekend. His season is done. Ruben Garrick from Seagulls dislocated his shoulder. His season also done. And then we got the Dragons. They fill up the rest of it. So Hamiseli and Jack DeBellin failed their HIAs and have 11-day stand-downs. And then Hamish Stewart, also from the Dragons, failed an HIA. But the Dragons have stood him down for the rest of the year as it was his third concussion this season. So they've told him to not come back and just work on that. So obviously...
Yeah, good of them to do that.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't want to be that guy. It's Hamish Stewart. It's not like it's Clint Gutherson or Damien Cook. So I think it is good from them, but he's not one of their go-to guys. So I think if it was one of your key players, they would probably not be as nice.
Technically, they can still make. I mean, mathematically, they can still.
They're still good. Yeah,
but the reality is they're not going to. So
it makes sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, so some I get it's really Cameron McInnes and Jack Gawelski are really the big losses in terms of finals. The rest of the teams are kind of not going to be in there. So yeah, shame for Cameron McInnes, and hopefully he pulls through. And Naughty Boy, we only got one pull. Jackson Ford from the Warriors. He had a grade 1 crusher, but because it was his third minor offense, they gave him a 3-week ban. So if you can recall, Paul, a few weeks ago, a Dolphins player broke a Warriors player's leg. He has just come back. He had just come back from another offence where he got a couple of weeks ban. He only got 2 for breaking a leg. Jackson Ford, a crusher tackle that wasn't penalised on the field, wasn't noticed by the player that got tackled. He gets 3 weeks. I know Andrew Webster talked about it during the press, saying it seems too big a ban after 2 minor offences where you get fines, and then the third strike you get a massive 3-week ban. I thought it may have been a 1 week or a 2 week for it. And Bjorn said, was this because of loading though? Apparently it wasn't. It was his third offence this year. The other 2 he got $2,000 fines. And they said because it's your third, we're giving you 3 weeks. So I don't get it myself. It seems like a big jump, but have you got any says on it, Paul? I did watch the game several times and I found where it was, and the only player that reacted was the hooker from the Dragons. Everyone else who wasn't being tackled. The player was just trying to get up. And Bjorn said, what about the NRLW players? Warriors player banned as well for a decent tackle. Yeah, I assume you mean the hip drop tackle, which did look fine. Matakino Gray, my favourite little warrior, her tackle, I could see it being a suspension because she basically pile drove the other player. But yeah, it was just a bad week at the judiciary for Warriors, Paul.
Yeah, it seems a bit harsh for something that wasn't you say that. Because you got 2 fines, you're now going to get 3 games. Yeah, that seems over the top. But look, he'll be back for finals, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and Jagger said spear tackle decent. Okay, no, I think Bjorn was talking about the hip drop tackle, which wasn't really a hip drop. The spear tackle was worthy of time.
Obvious.
Yeah, I was suspected, but yeah, the other one, which happened a few minutes later, I think was more milking on the Raiders side of things. But well, speaking of NRLW, we'll quickly do the rundown of the games, Paul. Yep. Sharks defeated the Titans 12-8. Broncos defeated the Eels 38-4. Raiders defeated the Warriors 2016. First win of the year, but as we said, there were 2 red cards for the Warriors, and they spent an hour of that game down to 11. So it was quite a courageous effort from them, but well-deserved win for the Raiders. Tigers defeated the Dragons 16-12. Roosters defeated the Knights 30-14, and then Cowboys defeated the Bulldogs 22-6. Yeah, James Milkig, she was carried off injured. I know, come on. I'm a Warriors fan. I'm allowed to be a little bit biased. She looked for the camera before she pretended she was hurt. Then round 8, so you've got the ladder there. Warriors are still in the top 6, which is the goal. But we've got the 8th place Bulldogs versus the 12th place Raiders, 9th placed Titans versus the 10th place Dragons, 7th place Eels versus the 1st Roosters, 3rd place Knights versus 2nd place Broncos, which should be a cracker of a match, 6th place Warriors versus 5th place Sharks, and then the 11th place Tigers versus the 4th place Cowboys. So there's a couple of good matches in there and a couple of ones which should be quite easy. But yeah, hopefully the Warriors can win against the Sharks because that will help them out in terms of keeping in that top 6.
Yeah, it looks like say a decent round of games, except perhaps the Roosters over the Eels, and was it the whoever the Tigers were playing? Those 2 teams look like they're in for a tough weekend, but otherwise, yeah, good round of games.
Yeah, and I see Bjorn said, "Can we have the real bad back, please? Spear tackles are okay in your book." When that tackle actually happened, I was on a chat with Richie and Ruin Hammer, and when I saw it, I said, that's fine. So, yeah, it's still there, but Richard's not here, so I have to play his side of the conversation as well. So we'll go into the round, Paul. I don't know if you brought up the stats, but first game on Thursday was the Storm defeating the Panthers 22-18.
Yeah, so this one, the Panthers got off to a good start with a try by Isaiah Papialihi. Nathan Cleary also got a try in that first half. In response, the Storm could only get 1 try. That was through Xavier Coates to lead 12-4 what's going on with my camera?
I don't know.
Yeah, back.
You tuned
So
on.
the Panthers led 12-4 at halftime. In the second half, the Panthers are going to get one try from Scott Sorensen, whereas Coates got a second. Joe Chan and Marion Sieve also got tries, so that it was all tied up at 18 all, sending us into a golden point. A few missed drop goal attempts at the end there, and as you say, one disallowed because of so-called blocking, and that meant that in the golden point, the Storm went over with a Harry Grant try, not Hugh Grant, not Forward Engine Funeral. Harry Grant tried to win this one 18-22, and to stop the real long-running Panthers winning streak.
Yeah, you wouldn't have seen it, but it was the cheekiest try you've ever seen, and in golden point nonetheless. It was just a quarterback sneak. He just ran from dummy half with no one watching. Couldn't believe it. He's probably never scored an easier try in his life. But this was one of the contenders for match of the year for me. The Storm turned the pressure game back onto them, forcing them into uncharacteristic errors. They were winning the arm wrestle in the packs, and Munster and Grant guided the attack well. They scrambled well, stopping several Panthers' chances and didn't overplay their hand. A bit of milking helped out, as we already talked about. And then they caught Penrith napping in golden point with Harry Grant's try. I think Jacko's mentioned about Storm will be hard to beat. I basically got the same, saying they're a very dangerous side that should at least be in the grand final. So, yeah, they're playing without their halfback at the moment. Nelson's a big contributor as well. So once they're all back, you'd expect them to find yet another level, which is hard to imagine right now with how well they're playing. But very, very important game for them to win.
Yeah, I mean, behind on all the attacking stats, but a couple of key ones. Only 4 errors to 8 by the Panthers. They had a clean game, and also an intercept. Interception's always good to kill momentum. So a couple of key plays, but behind on a lot of the. Under pressure for quite a lot there for by the looks of things.
Yeah, and for the Panthers, they were far from polished. They were creating chances, but let themselves down with too many errors. You talked about that intercept. That was where the game kind of swung. It was anyone's game. Then Blaise Talangi threw a 50-50 pass that Coates got. Went length of the field, basically, and that just seemed to break them a little bit. And under pressure, they just couldn't swing the momentum back, despite still having chances to win. Will be a game they regret letting slip, but it helped the Warriors out at least, which was all I cared about with this one. Yeah, my first game I got wrong in my picks of many. Who was the fantasy leader, Paul?
So funny enough, with the Panthers being having all the attacking stats, Nathan Cleary topped the fantasy points with 78, but Harry Grant wasn't that far behind with 71 for the Storm. Yeah,
Harry Grant was who I went with. His milking with the penalty, which stopped the Panthers winning, and then him scoring the try and golden point. So he kind of got the job done for his team there. So Great way to start off the round, Paul.
Next up, then, we had the Warriors versus the Dragons. The Dragons kicking things off in this one with 2 tries in that first half, both by Matthew Fagai,
I think.
With the Chanel Harris-DeVita replying before the half-time, and the Warriors trailed 4-10 at half-time. The Warriors shut out the Dragons in that second half. Adam Pompey got 2 tries to see them home 14-10.
Yeah, this was a tough watch, if I'm going to be honest. As a Warriors fan, the Warriors started terribly with some shocking defensive reads and equally terrible handling. Then the HIAs for the Dragons happened, and it meant all the Warriors really had to do was hang in there, and they would eventually outrun them, which is what we saw. I thought Tanner Boyd did play well when he decided to run the ball, which opened up the edges for Pompey to secure a vital win. Back in the top 4 again, but more performances like this will see them fall fast. So there's still a bit of negativity in there for me, Paul. And Jagger said surely Brad did some yelling when Ponce let in 2 tries early. That is why Bjorn will be disappointed with my player of the match, because it is not Adam Pompey. He did score 2, won the game, but he let in 2. So he's still on a 0. And I'm
Yeah,
just a bastard like that.
Not a clean game by the Warriors. Say 77% completion. The missed more tackles, had more ineffective tackles, had more errors. But I guess it shows a bit of the steel of the side that they actually did see it out though. Or the character.
Yeah. And Bjorn, I've got that in my notes for the Dragons. But yeah, the last play of the Dragons, I thought we were done. The winger should have backed himself. It was a hell of an effort from the Dragons here. This will probably be the most positive I've been on the Dragons all year, Paul. So be careful. They were dominating the Warriors in the first 20, but when those injuries happened and fatigue started to set in, they started to fall apart. They did keep pushing and taking the Warriors to the limit, but just couldn't find the next gear. As already mentioned, they almost got the win with a great run from Sloan, but he didn't back himself. Hard loss for them to take, but I think it was a character-building display that even impressed me. So, it was a hell of an effort from the Dragons. Very happy that they lost because it helped the Warriors. But it's been a bit of a cliche in a few games this year, Paul, but it was one of those the more deserving team lost. I don't normally like saying that because that's not how sport works, but you kind of feel it here. It's like if they had a full bench, they probably would have won this one comfortably. I think Jacko mentioned earlier, basic errors are killing us. Yeah, the case of the dropsies the Warriors have had the past month has really put them on the back foot in a lot of performances.
So Matthew Fagai also topped the fantasy with big 81. Jackson Ford put in a good performance with 64. Unfortunately, he's going to miss the next 3 games.
Yeah, and I'm trying to be a better person, Bjorn, agreeing with Sendos and talking the Dragons up. I went with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck as my player that stood out. I think I lied to Bjorn almost on Twitter when he said, I'm looking forward to hearing you talk about Adam Pompey, and I said, hard to argue with his performance, but then I watched again, and he played a key part in those 2 tries for the Dragons. So he made up for them with the other tries. But RTS, I think I said in my review this week, Paul, that RTS, at the moment, he feels like the only player in the Warriors team that consistently is a guy you can rely on to make something happen. And with the Warriors not really scoring a shit ton of points, he just keeps getting himself in there. He led the whole game for running meters for like the, I think, 3rd or 4th week in a row, potentially. I think even the Bulldogs game, he had the most meters, even though it was down from what he's been doing lately. But he just keeps pushing forward. So it's great to see him playing well. Pompey got second for me because of the double that won us the game.
Aaron Clark also 61 points off only 47 minutes. So he must have worked hard on those during that as well.
Yeah, he's been great this year, Aaron Clark. So next game on Friday, Paul, Roosters defeating the Bulldogs 32-12.
Yep, and in this one, the Bulldogs got off to a good start with a try from Enari Tuala, only for the Roosters to reply through Daniel Tupu and also Naifahu White before half-time to lead 14-6. Come the second half, though, and Naifahu White gets his second, Daniel Tupou gets his second and third, and in reply, Matt Burton just got one, meaning that the Roosters sped out and to a 32-12 comfortable lead, comfortable win in the end. In that, so with a good second half performance.
Yeah, the Roosters were dominant in this match. Their forwards laid on a strong platform and constantly won the middle, which allowed their halves to get the backs into open space. They looked dangerous almost every time they touched the ball. Defensively, they suffocated the Bulldogs, refusing to let them get back into the match. They've made the top 8 now, 4 now, but if they keep this form up, they could make some waves in finals. They've really hit a nice patch of form.
84% completion rate. The 10 errors, so quite a lot of errors still in this one for them, but dominated a lot of the stats.
And for the Bulldogs, they started well, but they just couldn't sustain it. Too many errors, stilting their attack, and their last tackle options were poor. They did put together a few strong sets, but they just couldn't convert them into points. And defensively, they just couldn't number up to shut the Roosters down. Still have a good spot on the ladder, but they've got the speed wobbles, and we'll need to sort them out before finals start.
11 errors to the 10 from the Roosters, but 9 penalties compared to 5. Really got on the wrong side of the refs, and this one, which would have hurt them.
Yeah, and it was another game that went the Warriors' favour this week, so that was always good as well. And yeah, Jacko said Kiwi White is playing top 40. Yeah, Neff White is playing so well at the moment. But who was the fantasy leader?
So Nafu White was actually the fantasy leader on 69. Daniel Tupu, even though he got 3 tries, only got 48 points on this one. So a low-scoring fantasy game, this one.
Yeah, I gave it to Neff White originally, and then I saw Tupou got the hat trick, and I said, I can't do it. So I had to go with Daniel Tupou. He got the hat trick, and I think Jacko mentioned it earlier about Xavier Coates. There's been a bit of talk about teams are getting really good with some teams getting really good at just doing the kick to the winger to catch the ball in the air and score a try. The way the rules are now, you basically can't contest them in the air because you'll get penalised. So it's basically a free try. Xavier Coates is really good at it. Tupou is getting good at it too. So these teams that have got these high flyers on the wings could find themselves in a good spot. But yeah, Tupou, he always feels a bit underappreciated there. He's been there forever. But yeah, it was a solid game for him. Going to Saturday, we've got a bit of a whitewash in this first one. So you'll have to get used to saying all these names, Paul. Sharks defeating the Titans 54-22.
A lot of names to talk about here. But Nico Hines was kicked things off for the Sharks. Jesse,
Colquhoun, I think it is.
Thank you. Nico Hines again, and Braden Trindle and William Kennedy all got in the first half for the Sharks. The Titans did manage to get themselves in touch, at least initially, with early tries from Jalen de Groot and Bo Fermor, but they still trailed 28-10 at half time. Come the second half, Ronaldo Mulitolo got a couple. Stioni Katoa got one. Tuka Hahu Tupuhu and Stioni Katoa for another one. There meant that, and with late replies, these are really consolation tries to Philip Sami and Josh Patterson, made it actually closer than it really was. Even then, it was 54-22 to the Sharks. So, big win for the Sharks against obviously bottom of the table or towards bottom of the table Titans.
Did last year.
Yeah.
The Sharks tore the Titans apart with their attacking masterclass. They racked up line breaks almost at will, running away with this match. You did see their errors creep up to a disappointing level, but it didn't matter with how easily they were scoring. Their defense was a bit soft at times, letting some of those Titans tries with just anyone could have got. So that will need to be worked on before facing tougher opposition, but definitely a confidence boost heading into the important part of the season.
Yeah, and look, obviously, funny enough, they topped most of the attacking stats. Interesting, they didn't top average set distance. So there you go. But that's because they managed to get the ball in Titans territory sometimes. As you say, ineffective tackles. 30 ineffective tackles by the Sharks here. They're going to have to toughen that up.
Yeah, and for the Titans, they showed flashes of flair, which we know they have, scoring some nice tries and utilising their offloads. But as always the case, they just can't defend, essentially leaving holes everywhere for the Sharks to strike. Another low day for the Titans, just in time for their clash against the Warriors this week, where they'll no doubt look like a completely different team.
Yeah, 43 missed tackles. They're bottom of the table. They just need the season to end, right?
Yeah. Hopefully they don't wake up this week. That's all I say. Fantasy leader.
So funny enough, big points in this one. Mawani Huioti, topped with 78. And with 3 players getting 2 tries, you can't use your triple tries, your hat tricks rule here, Brad, when going for your player of the match.
Yeah, I cheated. I went with Nico Hines. No, he got a try. He got a double, and he got 7 out of 10 at the boot, and was quite influential in getting some of these tries across. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a habit with him where he looks like the best player in the world when playing less than stellar opposition. He just needs to bring this type of performance to playing against top 8, even top 4 sides, which has been a struggle in the past. But yeah, I had to give it to him here. I thought he did quite well.
And he was one of 4 players to get over 70 points. So big game for him. Moving on then to the next game on Saturday was the Broncos versus the Dolphins. The Dolphins got first blood with the hammer getting a try. Also, Jake Averillo also scored in that first half. But the Broncos replied with Tony Staggs and Reece Walsh scoring. So it was all tied at halftime at 14 all. Coming to the second half, a couple of early tries by Try Fuller and Jeremy Marshall King put the Dolphins back in the lead. But then it was all Broncos with Diana Marina, Joshua Karapani, Ben Tolte, and Katori Staggs rounding things off at the end there for a 38-28 win against the Dolphins. Perfect day with the boot for the Dolphins, and a good day with the boot for Reece Walsh. He only missed 1 penalty, but got all 6 conversions.
Yeah, so Broncos displayed their attacking strike power despite missing Reynolds and Mam. Their back line was lethal, breaking the line repeatedly. The forwards played their part, providing go forward and throwing a few offloads, which disrupted the Dolphins' defensive line. They did make too many errors and let in some soft tries on the edges, but those are easy fixes, and they could still make a run for the top 4. Hopefully not, though.
Also, got to be careful about the penalty count. Again, another side that gave up 9 penalties. It's only 2 by the Dolphins, so again got on the bad side of the ref. But luckily, with some Dolphins missing a lot of tackles and ineffective tackles, it wasn't to be decisive.
Yeah, and for the Dolphins, they threw plenty at the Broncos and looked dangerous in patches. Their pack did go toe-to-toe with the Broncos for long stretches, but defensively they were just vulnerable, especially under fatigue, and they just couldn't keep up. Been a great comeback after a poor start of the season, but as we've seen in the past, after the Dolphins dip as the season drags on, so perhaps this is what we're seeing again, although I am hoping they can squeeze into the top 8 and make finals for the first time.
I'm sorry, but 16 missed tackles, 16 ineffective tackles, you're not going to win many games with those kind of stats.
No. And our leader in fantasy?
One of your favourite players, obviously, is Reece Walsh with a massive 94 in this one. Doing all the things that scored points. Payne Haas also got 83 as well, another high scorer.
And then I looked at all those and went with Tony Staggs. He got a nice double, and he was one of those guys that was causing havoc, breaking the line. So I had to go with him. Thought he really stepped up when everyone's going to look at Walsh and Ben Hunt to fill the void that's left by Reynolds and Mann, but they need some of their senior other players to step up, and I think Katoni did that. And Bjorn said, is this the real reason why Richie isn't here tonight? It probably is. He's sitting at home crying because the Broncos won. But it's how you know the real people. If the Dragons had won, I'd be here tonight. So next game, Paul, Rabbitohs defend the Eels 20-16.
Yep. Also on Saturday, the Rabbitohs got the first try with Tyrone Monroe. Also, Peter Mamouzoles went over in the first half with Isaiah Longy and Zach Lomax replying for the Eagles. It meant that they led 10-12 at half time. Come the second half, though, and Talis Duncan got a double. Zach Lomax managed to get his second, but that was too little too late as the Rabbitohs won this one at 20-16.
Yeah, Zach Lomax, if he was just a bit better at goal kicking on that night, could have helped them out. But Rabbits showed plenty of grit and control in this match. They bent the line and laid a foundation for the returning Cody Walker to create opportunities. They made good use of the offloads to stretch the Eels, and a few well-timed line breaks swung momentum their way. Their defense was under pressure late, but it was disciplined, and they kept their error count relatively low. It wasn't flashy, but it got the job done, although on a personal point of view, I was a bit annoyed at Tallis Duncan not flicking the ball to Johnson on his outside to get him closer to the try-scoring record. He could have given at least one of his 2 tries to Johnson to help him out, but it is what it is.
Yeah, look, a bit of a morale boost for the Rabbitohs. They ended their 9-game losing streak last week. They've got 2 back-to-back now wins, both of them only by a score. But a nice way to give yourself a bit of morale boost heading into the off season. Even though they trailed on all of the attacking stats on this one, but they kept their error count down, which was the big thing. Even if they did get on the wrong side of the ref with 9 penalties.
Yeah, and Jagger said the Eels are improving, but have hit a wall. Hopefully, we can put a score on them in a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. But yeah, Eels had more than enough ball to win. But just couldn't finish their sets. They made too many errors close to the Rabbitohs try line and made poor choices on the last tackle. A valiant effort that continues to show they'll be a better side in 26. They just need to improve those basics, which is why they hit that wall now. There's just too many errors, and they're the last home game at the moment for the Warriors. So hopefully the Warriors do show up for that one and finally give us a decent game to watch live.
Look, I mean,
at them.
For the Eels, look, they're defensively really good, right? Only 26 missed tackles, only 1 ineffective tackle, but 15 errors is a big problem for them. Yeah. Moving on into the player.
Yes, player. That's it.
Tallis Duncan led with 69 points.
Yeah, I just gave him crap for not helping Johnson out, but yeah, I went with him. 2 nice tries. He was quite heavily involved all night, and thought he deserved the honor.
And afforded played the full 80.
Yeah. And we go to the first game on Sunday, Paul. Tigers defeating Seagulls 26-12.
Yeah, I mean, this one started very early. If you didn't get your TV on in time, you would have missed the first try. With Cola going over after 0 minutes, it says here on here. In response, though, the Tigers, Adam Donoghue and Jared Skelton both scored to give them a 12-6 lead at half-time. Coming out in the second half, and tries to Suniola, Taroba, and Tillum May got them up to pulled them out to 26 points. The Sea Eagles, it wasn't until the 78th minute they got their second try. So perhaps the longest gap between tries in the game this season. It was consolation try, wasn't it? It's 26-12, but it wasn't that close.
Yeah, it was a solid effort from the Tigers here. They played with energy, defended their line with purpose, and forced the Sea Eagles into making mistakes. Their attack looked organised, with offloads keeping the ball alive and creating line breaks. Still a bit error-prone, but they stayed composed and refused to let the Sea Eagles play. Another struggling team that looks to be on the right track for 2026, despite what the media are saying about poor old Benji Marshall over there at the moment. I was really wrapped with this performance from them when it kind of looked like they were falling back into old habits.
Yeah, look, completion rate of 77% for the Tigers is not good. Let's be honest, but 66 from the Sea Eagles. This wasn't your highest quality game with 11 errors for the Tigers and 16 for the Sea Eagles. But hey, they got the dub, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, we've got to remember this is a team that were always happy to get like 3 or 4 wins a season last year. So now they're getting more wins more regularly and not being in conversation for the wooden spoon, I think is a big tick in their book. And Jacko said he's happy for Benji after all the Galvin drama. Yeah, that had every chance of completely derailing this team when he jumped ship. Thankfully that hasn't happened. Some of their key players have extended with them too, which shows that everyone is, at least happy with Benji being there. So yeah, hopefully good signs going ahead because I've always got a soft spot for them.
Look, they're also mathematically still in with a chance of making the top 8. They're not going to, but three games left. They still could do. If it wasn't for that 6-game losing streak they had in the middle of the season around Origin, then they'd be in a very happy place.
Yeah, and then Manly, they started this match, as you said, the best way possible with a try before fans even got to their seats. But it was all downhill from there. They were beaten all over the park, and they just couldn't keep hold of the ball. The more errors crept in, the more frustrated the team appeared, which in turn led to lapses on both sides of the ball. Definitely looked like a team not on the same page and just waiting for the season to be over.
Yeah, this is now a 4-game losing streak, 16 errors, really, as we mentioned before, and that low completion rate. They should have been in with a shout of making the finals, but they're not. As far as players go, Tillon May with that final try as well got 70 points in this one from the centres.
Yeah, I went with Taylor May. He was just so devastating with the ball in hand. So yeah, got a nice try at the end of it. But yeah, he's been really solid since joining them this year. So yeah, had to go with him. And Jacko said, man, look all for. Hopefully they stay that way for the last game against us. Yeah, with the way the team is, I'm still worried that it's the last game. It's their last home game. It's DCE's last game as a Sea Eagle. There's a lot of stuff that they have reasons to play for, but if rumors are to be believed, if they're all not happy with DCE, they may not care that it's his last game there. So we don't know. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I've been there last year. I was there for Sean Johnson's last game at Mount Smart, and the Warriors couldn't get up for that one. So hopefully it's the same for Manly. We'll go to the last game, Paul. Cowboys defeat Knights 38-4.
I was going to say, what's the point? It's just in this one. Look, this is we're talking about 13th versus 16th now in the table, or actually what was 14th versus 16th. A game that shouldn't have blown out this way, but Scott Drinkwater, Tom Dredden, Braden Burns all scored tries in that first half where the Knights couldn't get a single point. I mean, it was 20-0 at half time and the game was already over. Let's be honest, this round finished early. Jackson Purdue, Jeremiah Nanai, Scott Drinkwater bookended things to get 2 tries. Saw that the Cowboys blew out to 38. Yes, Dominic Young got a try in that second half, but yeah, who really cares? The Knights following up, showing that there's a reason why they've scored the fewest points in the NRL this year.
Yeah, I'll talk about that when we talk about Newcastle. But beforehand, betting responsibly, people. I was upset that my multi had taken a nosedive into the ocean, so I did a same-game multi on this game, and I was the happiest I've ever been, Paul. I picked Scott Drinkwater's score, Tom Dearden to score, Jackson Purdue to score, Dominic Young to score, and then what do you call? I can't even remember his name. I'm so angry at him because he didn't score. The hooker, Reece Robson, to score. Everyone was doing it. In the 53rd minute, I only had one more to go, and it's like there's still time. He didn't get it, and I lost the bet. So bet responsibly, people. Don't send hate messages to players that don't score tries either. But it was very tempting.
Say, did you? Jeez.
No, I didn't. I was yelling at Scott Drinkwater when he got his final try, going, just find Robson anywhere and throw him the ball. Everyone said, what was that paying? I put scary amount of money on it. I put $5, and I think I was going to get like 500 back.
Okay, you didn't deserve it. Let's be honest. You were being very silly. And look, this was not a high quality game, right? Even look, the 67% completion by the Cowboys. They had 23 errors, more than any other team, right, in this one. Year. So yes, they scored 38 points, but they did not play well.
No. Yeah, and Richie's here. Welcome, Richie.
Hey, I was listening on my drive home, so I know I'm on the last game.
Yes.
and it was a one-sided affair, so nothing to add.
Yeah, but yeah,
I'm just here for the fun stuff now, the questions and whatnot.
yeah. So Cowboys were ruthless here. 23 years. It's in my notes too. I just at you, Paul, for taking it.
They were poor, and they still stumbled over for 38 points.
Yeah. Their pack bullied Newcastle, which opened the backs up to score points. They turned pressure into points. Still way too many errors, as everyone's already mentioned. 23, which that could be a record high for a team this year. I don't know. I should have looked at that to see who had the record this year. But thankfully for them, they were facing a side who couldn't punish them for it. So a good win in what's been a tough year. But those problems are still lingering and need to be addressed before 2026. For Newcastle, it was a night to forget. Their attack was flat and one-dimensional with too many errors killing their sets. They made more line breaks than the Cowboys, but just couldn't ice the opportunities. And defensively, they just couldn't shut down the Cowboys and basically became spectators. Need to find some attacking spark if they want to be competitive next year. Perhaps Dylan Brown will fix that, but who knows? I did hear a stat during the game, Paul, that in the past month of football, they've scored 26 points.
That's very poor. I mean, look, they also gave up 3 interceptions and made 16 errors themselves. I think that's the second most errors of the weekend. So yeah, this one had the first and second most errors of the weekend. This was not. I say, why you stayed and watched it towards the end.
Hell of a performance. You have to watch it because you have to talk about it on the show.
Richie doesn't, so I don't know why you did.
No, well, one of us has to, so we can at least pretend.
Just pretend.
I'll give you my thoughts. Yeah, those two teams have been. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to work that out, but for me, that's just the battle of two teams with coaches under pressure. One should be gone by now, and I'd have a prediction correct, but they're being stubborn, the Knights. But yeah, Scotty Drinkwater ran this one for me. He's just a couple of tries, perfect off the tee, ran the game. When he does well, the Cowboys do well.
And he also got 102 points.
Yeah, I went with him too. It would have been nice if he gave Reece Robson a try, but
at least you didn't message him, Brad.
Okay, broken record,
as it was.
Broken record. All right.
Sorry, it would have been my biggest win ever. So that is the round. We'll go to the ladder. Paul, I had top 8 last week, so you take it, mate.
Yeah. Raiders first, Storm second, Bulldogs third. That order still remains the same. The Warriors, we're back in there for now, in the 4, so that's good. Panthers dropped to 5th, Broncos in 6th, Sharks in 7th, and the Roosters, they've hit a purple patch. They're looking worrying. They've moved into the 8th.
Yeah, and then for the rest, the Dolphins moved down to 9th. Seagulls stayed in 10th. West Tigers went up to 11th. Dragons down to 12th. Cowboys up to 13. Eels down to 14. Rabbits up to 15. Knights down to 16. And Titans stayed dead last.
Oh, we need to keep them there.
Need to keep them there. It's still an interesting ladder. There's still, as Paul just said, even the Tigers are a mathematical shot of making it. And the Dolphins and Roosters, I think, as you said, Roosters have hit a patch. I think Roosters can keep climbing up. The Warriors, Destiny's back in their hands. If they want a top 4 spot, they just have to keep winning, which is easier said than done with them at the moment. But the Panthers and Broncos have some tough games coming up, which can help the Warriors out there. But a team like the Roosters, they keep going the way they are. They could even sneak up there. So I think there's still a lot of potential moving in that top 8 before the season's done, which makes it interesting.
Outside the top 3.
Outside the top 3. Well, see, at the moment, the Raiders and Storm are going to be really fighting each other for that minor premiership. Time will tell with that. But we'll go to fantasy now. I assumed Richie was out working because he didn't want to give me his scores till the last minute. Then I saw the score and realised why. But you got 730, mate. You're getting closer to 800.
That's all right for me. I wasn't ashamed of that. It was just that I was busy.
Yeah.
That's probably as good as I get in terms of fantasy.
Yeah, and I got 857. I was in a finals matchup. I lost by 10 points. Ruben Garrick probably would have got me there if he didn't get injured. But I was, because of where I was on the ladder, it's like they do it like the NRL. So because I lost, but I was in the top 4, I get a second chance this week. So I still have a chance to go all the way. But I'm not confident. I'm out of trades. So I traded Stafford Toa in for Ruben Garrick, and I've just got to hope that that team I've got does something. With some good players in there, but the Bulldogs falling apart and the Dolphins falling apart are kind of helping me get low scores.
He sees with higher
looking
scores
at
than me.
and looking at Richie's, you need more dragons in your team. Clearly, and he's got 5.
Yeah, what's doing
I've
there,
got,
Brad?
I've got
What
no
is going
dragons in
on?
my team. I got no dragons at all. Never happened.
Yeah, I knew who the Dragons were playing, so load up. But what's close?
It was close. So we'll go to tipping comp. There's been a lot of shaking in the tipping comp too, mate. We had 4 people use their jokers.
Out of the 4. I knew
Yeah,
this would
ACT.
happen.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I'm happy I didn't use mine because of how bad I went. I went 4 from 8.
Same.
So did you, which is weird because we both were picking against each other. So I don't know how that worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, ACT Hellcat used his last joker. He got 8 points. Your boy got 6. He got the high non-joker score. He's on second. Simon, using his second joker in a row, is squeezed up to third now. With the 10, Evelyn, one of the newbies, is up in fourth with their joker. Then the Irk, fifth. You've dropped down to sixth. MB Sports Fan, 7th. I've dropped down to 8. Harry Poppins, 9th. Bjorn is 10th. The boy from SMB, 11th. Princess K Hill, 12. Roscoe, 13. Michael Pizzuto, 14. And Hammer got a better score than me without even playing at dead last.
You are only in the top 8 because of the points difference or margin scores, and only by 1 point. I mean, that is just that is you are fingernails, real fingernails there in the top 8 for you, Brad.
Yeah, I tried to be a bit too cocky with my picks last week. It won't happen again. And Simon's happy. He's good. He's in third place here. Well done, Simon. I'm coming for you, but we'll see. So we'll go to questions now. I think you did have one from Bjorn.
Yeah, we had one from Bjorn. He's saying, look, if AJ doesn't get the try-scoring record this year, do you think the NRL draw will magically have a Rabbitohs playing at home next year in round 1 if he needs one more try? It would make sense, right?
Tinfoil hat stuff.
I think it's tinfoil hat, but I think it will happen. Yeah,
give him the first 2 games at home, just to make sure, because look, you want it celebration in front of your home fans, right? It's good for audience participation. It's good for fan engagement. You can say by the end of the season, you've all played the same number of home and away games.
Yeah, I think it is, but I think with a record like this, you want to do it at home, but it'll be celebrated wherever he is. Hopefully, if it was at Mount Smart and it was the try that won the game for the Rabbits over the Warriors, it might not. But yeah, ideally you wanted it in front of your home crowd, so I would like that. But you missed that. I was ragging on Tallis Duncan before you jumped on.
Yeah.
He had 2 tries. He could have given them both to AJ, but he didn't want to. He was a hungus. But he's a forward. You expect that.
Well, also, you know his contract says. Maybe his contract's got a try-scoring bonus, and he's like, sold that.
Yeah. But yeah, so your question to me, mate.
Daniel Tupou's coming pretty fast as well, eh?
He is.
He's gone up into, is he like in the 190s now, or late 180s, I think. So
I think he's late 180s.
Could have another one in the next couple of years, depending on how long he goes.
Yeah. Your question for me, mate.
Yeah. Rocco Berry back in the team this week. His injuries are always a concern. How many chances are you willing to give him on our roster if he suffers another decent injury setback in the near future after his comeback?
I think
I know we were
you
speaking
really
about
know
it during the week.
We've spoken about
exactly.
it during the week.
I know, but I share it with the people.
I said one more and he's done. For me, he's had this is his third one this year. I think he's had 3 this year. He had a couple last year. I feel it doesn't make sense to keep investing money if you can't rely on him. That's not me hoping for it. I think I even said that in the chat with you and Ruin Hammer, saying I really hope I'm wrong. But I want to see him get through and be consistently playing first grade. Otherwise, you're just wasting a roster spot. And yeah, Bjorn said Rocco playing 2 out of 1 to make it to the end of the season. All jokes aside, I really hope he gets over his injury soon. Yeah, I'm the same. I hate seeing him get injured, not only because it's horrible for him in his young career, but it puts the Warriors in a tough spot when you lose a center every game he plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping that he gets it's bit by bit get through the 80 this week. We'll talk about it when we go to the team naming. I've picked him this week myself. And Jay said Rocco's a quality player, though. Need to persevere with him. 100%. It's just if you're persevering with a guy that plays 4 games a year, you might have to look at it. But if he comes back and he plays the rest of this year and gets through all of next year with no injuries, then yeah, it's good. Hopefully that happens. But when you're looking at your roster, you want to have the right price point, but you also want to have guys that you can rely on every week. But yeah, we'll see. And he could have still been there. The last injury wasn't the same as all the rest. He dove on a loose ball, a guy landed on top of him, and he popped his shoulder out. So it's not like Tommy Turbo where it was always the hammy every time. So I'll give him that. But yeah, what about you?
I mean, I'm a big fan, so I want to throw him some rope. But I think he just needs to show us a string of games, show us something, because it's just been tough watching the revolving door in the centers this year. I think it's been one factor that's kind of hindered us, but I mean, we've got other options there. So, I mean, like what Jacko said, I wouldn't mind persevering with him for a while, giving him a chance to prove himself. Talent's there. Yeah,
and Jacko also said Warriors fans love to knock players who get a bad injury, and quite a few want a Metcalf cut before the season. Yeah, and there were talks about it when he got injured again this year too. They were like, we need to get rid of him, which I wouldn't do. I think it probably helps us keep him at a cheaper rate, his injury again. But yeah, the talent, when the talent's there, you want to persevere. So yeah, I'm hoping Rocco makes me look like an idiot and just doesn't get injured again. It'd be fantastic.
Okay. Yeah.
And Bjorn said, do I have any advice to harden him up?
Adopt a prop mindset.
Yeah. We'll see as a master of a prop, you never really get fast enough to do a hammy. So I don't have to worry about that. I never was concerned about pulling a hammy. All my injuries were, all my injuries in playing sport, I never had anything like that. I did a lot of injuries, but I was one of the dumb props that kept playing, mate. We didn't have these times away. Our last one, I think we talked about on the show when I broke my ankle last year, the year before. I drove from Palmerston North to Auckland with a broken ankle because I didn't know I had a broken one. So that's the prop mindset for you. But my question to you, sorry, Paul. What's one tactical adjustment you'd like to see the Warriors make heading into this game against the Titans?
To be honest, not much. I think it's a little bit late in the season to reinvent the wheel. I think for us, it's more about getting healthy players on the pitch, and then quickly before finals, try and roll out the same team a few times and get some combinations. If anything, our attack has been a little bit mediocre all year. I mean, maybe if we got a good roll on and getting good completions and bending the line, maybe we could throw a few more risky plays, or a few more offloads, second phase play in there to help promote a few more points. But I wouldn't be doing anything too drastic tactically.
Yeah. Mine's not really a tactical adjustment. I probably worded it wrong. Errors, which I think Jacko's just made. Too late to try others other than what we've been doing. Just cut out the basic errors and get completions high. Yeah, get those injuries down. We were so good starting the year with keeping those errors down. And at the moment, we just kind of let it slip. And not being able to score points, you want to be able to hold on to the ball as much as you can. So that's what I would go with as well. And
no
Ben
stop,
says, I reckon give
offload.
Leko. No, the players in the Warriors that can offload generally don't let too many go to ground. I think there's been one or two this year. Most of the offloads have been pretty
so
good.
weird coming from you.
It's been a night for it. I've been scaring people with some of the stuff I've been saying. But yeah,
Ben,
keeping the errors down.
Early ball on the edge. I like that.
Which, speaking of, we may as well talk about this week's team. Warriors are playing the Titans.
No. I've got to say, I've got another question for you.
Oh man.
Well, I was having a quick look at the because you mentioned Daniel Tupou coming up quickly on tries. I thought I'd have a quick look at the try scores this year, and look, 3 rounds to go in the regular season. Xavier Coates, Daniel Tupou, and Hammer are all on 18 tries, with Tyrrell Sloan and Mark Nwangeni just 2 tries back on 15. Who do you have as the at this point in the season now? Who do you have as top try scorer for the season?
Ooh.
I'm going to stick with Coates because they've got the cheat code now of just kicking to him in the air and no one's allowed to tackle him. So he's going to keep scoring at least a try a game.
I think the top 2 is pretty much, it's going to be top 3. It'll be one of those 3 guys.
It's a hell of an effort, though, when you think 2 of the top 5 play for the same team. With Tupou and Marky Mark both with the Roosters. And Tyrrell Sloan 4th in a team that doesn't want him. And he almost scored his 17th try this week against the Warriors as 18th man. So,
he should have backed himself.
He should have, but thankfully he didn't. But I'm sticking with Coates.
All those top players have got 3 games as well. None of them have got a bye coming up. So who are you going for? So Richie, who's yours?
I'm thinking Coates as well. He's probably been the best, up there with the best wingers all year. And like Brad said, they've got the formula now. He's finding the line pretty regularly off those crossfield kicks. He's just such a threat in the air.
My leading try scorer prediction we did at the beginning of the year is almost right. I picked the Storm winger. I just picked the wrong one. I picked the one that hasn't been playing all year.
I can't remember who I chose now.
I think you. I can't remember either. I've got them all.
Sorry, we'll review that in our end of the year. But I thought with them being so close, I thought I'd just ask you that. So so moving now on to the team. Just give me a second to bring the team.
You've lost it. See.
Well, no, I can only have one screen at a time up. You see, so when I had the other thing up, I was in trouble. There you go.
Yeah, so Warriors Titans at Sebus Super Stadium on Saturday at 7:30. You want to give us that Warriors team, mate?
Yeah, for sure. Fullback Chance, the wings Dallin Martinez, Lesniak, Roger Tui, Vasek. Centre pairing Adam Pompey, and we touched on it, Rocco Berry making his return. Halves Chanel Harris-Tavita and Tanner Boyd. Front row, James Fisher-Harris, Wade Egan. Dimitri Vaimonga comes into the starting lineup. No Jacko forward this week. Kurt Capewell, Monata Niakore, Aaron Clark. They're the back row. Interchange, Tamaiti Martin. Eddie Edemaya Toiava, Tanner Stowell-Smith, and Leka Alasima moves to the bench. Tane Tuapiki, 18th man.
Yeah, so what do you think of that team, mate?
As good as we can throw out, I think. Jacko Ford, for all his for his errors he was making on the weekend, I think he's still a big loss. Just the work he gets through when we're already down Mitch Barnett, etc. But I think it's as good as we can throw out.
Bjorn's just said that as well, and I know Jacko said it earlier about what a loss Jacko will be for just the sheer amount of work he does and how many minutes he plays. My team in my review wasn't this. I knew Rocco would be back or be available, but I said give him a week in cup first.
Yeah.
So I had the same backline as we've had with Chance at centre and Tane in, and all I did was I moved Murata to front row and to put Capewell into where Murata was, left everyone else the same. But yeah, as you said, I think this team is as strong as they can have with everyone that's available. I think I love Tane, but I know you're going to get a lot more out of Chance at fullback. Rocco is a better defensive centre, so if he stays healthy, that should still fix the issues they've been having on the edge. And I love Leka starting, but I think coming off the bench, I think Bjorn's just said as well, coming off the bench against tiring play, he could be more damaging attack-wise for the Warriors. So I think that helps. He did take a bit of a knock during the game last week, but I think when he starts, sometimes he can't impact as well. So yeah, I'm happy enough with that team, as long as Webby knows how to use the bench a bit better.
Very true.
We don't want to see Lecky get like 15 minutes at the end of the game, which I'm sure he won't. He's too good a player to be put in like that rocky spot. But yeah, happy for that. And the Titans team, mate, we got at fullback AJ Brimson. Then the wings, we've got Jalen DeGroot and Philip Sami, Brian Kelly and Jojo DeFito in the centres. Halves with Kieran Foran and Jaden Campbell. Fotueka, Sam Verrills and Regal Campbell Gillard front row. Chris Randall and Bo Fulmore second row, and Big Tino at lock. With Keno Kinney playing a second game after coming back from that injury. Looked quite good in the weekend. Cleese Haas, Isaac Fasul Malawi, and Josh Patson for the interchange. Good team, but I'm going with Warriors here. I know we got the dreaded curse, 6 losses in 7 games, but I think we've got to get this one. Everything's on the line, so I'm going Warriors. And Jacko said Titans lineup's not that bad. They shouldn't be bottom of the table. They shouldn't. You're going Titans, are you?
Yep. So sue me. I've seen enough. I've got enough evidence over the past couple of years. We don't beat them. Prove me wrong, boys. Prove me wrong. Love you too.
Yeah, and Bjorn said Titans getting flogged last week. As a Warriors fan, this just feels bad. Yeah, I was more worried at that scoreline going, if there's any chance for them to bounce back, it's going to be now.
Yep. But
yeah, I'm sticking Warriors.
Well, the TAB, I mean, look, when you're looking at where they are on the table, the TAB have gone with the Warriors at $1.53 away from home, and the Titans at $2.55. So on there, unsurprisingly.
Easy money. Put it on the Titans. Easy money. It's crazy they're giving us that good odds. Last game we played at that ground pool, we lost 66-6, and they're giving us those odds.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And they were a crap team then as well. It doesn't matter how good they are at the time.
Yeah, we're the only team they know how to beat in this whole competition.
And the Titans, 2 wins and 8 losses at home. They're better away from home, where they've got 3 wins and 8 losses. But maybe they'll even things up this weekend.
Yeah, and Jay said, surely we're hungry enough to get revenge. Yeah, I think they'll be really disappointed. They lost that game a few weeks ago against them at home, and a lot of them were there for that 66-6 game. So they will want to make sure they get revenge on the Gold Coast. And they always get a great turnout of Warriors fans. I did forget to put in the news, Warrior Nation, who they organise and everyone to get all the Warriors fans together for the games, were informed. They are known, they have the big drum, Richie.
Yep.
They were informed by the Titans they're not allowed to bring the drum into the stadium as the away team. So they're taking it off because it's been famous at Gold Coast Pool when the groundsman or ground speaker says, like, let's go Titans, you hear a massive boo in the crowd because it sounds like a Warriors home game. So they're trying to get the advantage there.
Gotta do
It's a
what
bit
they
of
can.
game machine, but yeah. So we'll go to the rest of the round, mate. Thursday night, Rabbitohs are playing the Dragons. I've gone Rabbitohs.
Yeah, I went Rabbitohs.
The
Dragons
injuries.
they're missing there was carnage in our game on the weekend. They're going to be missing a few.
Yeah, look, with 3 head injuries, but the TAB hasn't taken that into account really well. The Rabbitohs, look, they're 15th, but they've been in a good vein of form, haven't they? Recently with actually no, there's just those 2 wins.
Just those 2 wins, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, but they're $1.85. The Dragons $1.98, which might be a bit low considering, as you say, those 3 HIAs that they got at the weekend with and so 3 players down from 3 squad players. I mean, it's not like three kind of match day players as well when it's like that.
Yeah, and there's still Rabbits still don't have Latrell back, but I think they'll do it. So
They've got Cody back though, don't they?
They do, yeah. Then first game on Friday, big clash. Panthers Raiders. I've gone Panthers. I was going Raiders until the Panthers lost this week, and I was like, "There's no way in hell they're going to lose 2 in a row."
At this time of year, I'm going Panthers too. Hard to call it. It's not actually. It's somewhere else in there. Glen Willow Oval. Where's that? It's not a home game. It's not.
I have no idea where that is.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm wrong because I've got money on the Raiders to win the minor premiership.
I mean, what a cracking couple of games for Friday night.
Outstanding.
The Panthers $1.62, the Raiders $2.30. Which I think is well. Look, the Raiders, to be fair, away from home, 7 wins, 3 losses. So 3 out of their 4 losses have been away from home. The Panthers clearly on that 9-game winning streak until they lost to the Storm at the weekend. But even so, I think that's probably the longest odds the Raiders have been in like the last sort of 15 rounds. I'd have thought.
Yeah, should be a hell of a clash though. And Bjorn said Mudgee. He thinks Glen Willow Oval is. It's really helpful. I don't know where Mudgee is either, but it's in Australia.
It sounds very Australian.
I assume in New South Wales, because that would make sense. Then the next game on Friday, another cracker, Storm Bulldogs. I've gone with Storm. I think you missed it with the review. I said Bulldogs got the speed wobbles, and the Storm are just they're hitting the right patch of form right now.
Yeah, Storm.
And it's at Amy Park.
And the Storm are $1.50, the Bulldogs $2.60. The Storm have lost 2 at home this season, to be fair. But even so, that's when you're talking about second hosting third, and it's $1.50 compared to $2.60. And then you look at the Rabbitohs and the Dragons and how close they are. Sometimes you have to wonder about the odds.
Yeah. Then on Saturday we kick off with Manly playing the Dolphins. I've gone with Dolphins. Manly are busted.
I've gone with Dolphins. I missed the review, but Manly are poo. Dolphins.
Well, the Dolphins aren't in great form either. They're 2-2. They've also been stumbling, and this one is really tight. $1.95 for the Eagles, $1.87 for the Dolphins. The way you guys are talking, that seems like very, very close odds, considering.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Manly come out and win. They're that kind of consistent team, but
they have been like that this year. Yeah, they've been really hard to pick. But the attitude that it looked like they had in the weekend isn't a good sign. Then next game was Titans Warriors, where I picked correctly and Richard picked wrong.
Hopefully. We've already talked about the odds from the TAB. Yep.
Yeah. Then the final game on Saturday, we have the Eels playing the Roosters. I've gone Roosters.
Yeah, Roosters. They're so hot right now.
Yeah, it has to be. Surely.
The Roosters. These aren't the shortest odds of the weekend, but they are the second shortest at $1.32, even though they're away from home. The Roosters away from home, 6 wins and 4 losses. Actually, they're better away from home than they are at home. The Eels, $3.40 there with that one.
And
This
I
next one must be
assume,
the shorter odds.
yeah, I assume this next one's the shortest odds. The Knights playing the Broncos. I have gone with the Broncos.
Yes, Broncos, easy.
So the Roosters $1.32, the Broncos against the Knights, and remember the Knights are on a they're 0-4 on the form sheet, but they are on I think it's a 5-game losing streak from memory. But let's find it. Yeah, 6-game losing streak now. And the Broncos are only $1.30 compared to $1.32 for the Roosters. The Knights $3.50. So
If only they'd find a coach.
Yeah, well, see, the Knights are averaging like a try a game in the past month, so that's not good odds to win because you're not going to hold the Broncos to less than a try.
No, but I'm just amazed that that the Roosters are nearly the same odds as the Broncos.
Yeah,
just so yeah, that's an obvious one.
Yeah, and then the last game we have the Tigers playing the Cowboys. I've gone with Tigers.
Who knows? I'll go the other way from you then. Cowboys. That's a tough one. That's a real tough one.
It is, but I've gone with hometown, and it's
Like that. Yeah. I'll go the other way. I'll stick with it.
So the Tigers at home this season 5-6. The Cowboys away from home 3-8. They're much more of a home team, the Cowboys. And look, they're coming off the back of a big win though. But yeah, this isn't a coin flip as far as the CAB is concerned. This is $1.70 for the Tigers, $2.20 for the Cowboys. This is not a Manly Sea Eagles, Dolphins, or a Rabbitohs Dragons game, according to them.
Yeah.
What do they know?
Yeah.
More than us, probably.
When you look at Brad's bank account, they know.
Yeah, they're making a living off me. That's for sure. Anything else you guys want to add before we let everyone go?
Go the Warriors, please.
Go the Warriors.
Stay in the top 4.
That's all we're hoping for at the moment. And no injuries, please, to anyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining in tonight and joining us on Standoff with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on Rugby League, tune into our show next week at 8 p.m. here on Facebook or YouTube, or at your convenience on Spotify and iHeartRadio. Just remember to search New Zealand Sport Radio. Cheers for joining me late, Richie, and thanks, Paul, for helping me out for most of the show and all the help you're doing in the background. And good night, everyone.